Hello, hello, hello. How are you? It's me. It's Carmela Bell, your diabetes strategist and success coach. I hope you're having a good day. I'm really excited to be able to come back to you today and talk to you about day 3. I can't believe I've already done 2 days. But like I said before, it's really important for me to share with you all why I'm doing what I'm doing, because this stuff is important. It is really important, and it's in some ways too simple for so many people to be losing their lives behind. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you about why I started this business, and my son being diagnosed really is the beginning of how I became educated and became, his expert on all things diabetes. So for those of you who don't know, I am the owner of A Diabetic Type Life Coaching and Consulting. I'm the #1 best-selling author of the book Push Through, 7 Steps to Help You Push Through Diabetes Overwhelm. And I'm the mom of a son who has type 1 diabetes. So we never, ever stop thinking about diabetes. We're always counting. We're always reading labels. We're always trying to figure out what we can have, how we can have, and how we can squeeze something in. And I'm also a marriage and family therapist associate. So I was basically trained to help people change their lives and create the life that they want to have through conversation and all kinds of other good stuff. So that's me. Today we're going to talk about, let's go back. On Monday we talked about my overall purpose. On yesterday we talked about Devin's diagnosis day. Very, very serious day. And a lot was involved in that. But today we're going to be talking about the day after and life after his diagnosis. So he was diagnosed on November 18th, which is my mom's birthday, and we couldn't even celebrate her birthday the way we wanted to, because we're in the ER, in the hospital, learning that he has diabetes, that his pancreas has failed, and our whole lives have been changed. We spent the whole week there. This was the week leading into Thanksgiving. So we got home Thanksgiving evening. I was so glad that my mom and my stepdad were there, because 1, that meant we at least got some food after being in the hospital all week. But 2, who wouldn't want their mom after a situation like this? I think I really just was like, I need a hug. Where is my mama? I can't believe this has happened. It was crazy. So it was just good for her to be there and know that I had someone, some love to come home to. Because my husband and I, we were broken. Our spirits were just down. And once we got home, that's when stuff got real, because we had to put into action all the stuff the nurse and the diabetes educator had been teaching us over the past few days. If you remember, I said we had about 3 good days of training. They had a couple of days of kind of bringing him back to health, and then we got a few days of training to learn what insulin is and how to mix bottles and put air in your syringe and all kinds of craziness. We had to do all these things. My lovely mother-in-law even came to the training session so that she could be a person who could support us and help us with him. And I tell you, that is something that I can't even express how important that was. The fact that she was willing to be a part of our process really was the only reason why we had a little bit of breath in between some of these stints back in that time. So it was great. We learned how to pull insulin into the syringe and stick it into an orange, because this will be similar to sticking it into him. I will post some pictures so you can see what he looked like and what it was like at that time. But just let me tell you, we got home. We had to basically figure out what was our routine going to be, because there's no more of just sitting around and, we'll eat dinner now and let's go to bed now and let's wake up now and you sleep all night long. We went from having, young children but no longer infants to feeling like we had an infant. I can't tell you, I don't think I started sleeping. He got diagnosed in 2012. He was 6 years old. I don't think I started almost getting any sleep until probably last year. So I've been if people who know me, if I was kind of crazy, forgive me, because I didn't get sleep. I was really tripping. It was tough because I'll just explain to you. So when he got home, we had to, I'll start at night. At bedtime was at 8. We would check his blood sugar at night at 8 p.m. Then we would still be up. We would check him at 11 p.m. before we went to bed. Well, one of us had to set that alarm to check him at 2 a.m. in the morning. We would get up again at 5 a.m. in the morning, and he would have breakfast. He would go off to school. By the time he got to school, around 8 o'clock, he would have to, let's not say 8 o'clock. I think it was like 9 o'clock. He would have to go to the nurse to test his blood sugar, get that finger pricked again. Then he would come back for lunch at 11:30, test his finger, take another shot. Then he would go to recess and class. He would come back at 1:30, test his finger. He would leave school, come home. Between 3:30 and 4:30, we would have to have dinner ready. Now, we traditionally usually would eat dinner around 7 o'clock, 6:30 or 7. But now that he had diabetes, dinner had to go way up. We had to have it at about 4:30 so that whatever he ate would have a chance to be digested in his system before bedtime. Because if we're eating dinner at 4:30, then we're needing to check his blood sugar again at 8 o'clock before he goes to bed to make sure he's at a good number. Now, I know I just spit out a whole lot of numbers and a whole lot of times. You didn't really need to keep up with it all, but I just want you to kind of get a mental picture of what it looked like all day long. Because even when he was at school and he wasn't with me and I wasn't checking his blood sugar and I wasn't giving him shots, I'm on the phone with the nurse asking what's the number and what's the units. Constantly all day long, I'm talking about diabetes. So that's what things look like. We also had to deal with meal planning. Meal planning was different. I remember he would wake up on a Saturday or whatever time and decide he wanted cereal. He could just eat cereal. Later in the afternoon, if he wanted some chips, maybe he would eat a few, sit there with the bag and just eat a few chips. No problem. No more. That changed. With diabetes, flexibility, spontaneity went out the window. Planning of everything was required. Structure was required for everything. It was almost to a rigid point. You would even wonder, how can they even enjoy life if everything they're doing has to be scheduled and structured? In some ways, it felt like we weren't living life. Because, for instance, if he went to a birthday party, I would have to call ahead to find out what was on the menu, because I need to count carbs to know about what he's going to eat, if I need to bring extra food to supplement him, or if I need to bring sugar-free drinks, or what. I had to know what we needed to do, because regardless of the party, he still might have a low. And if he has a low but it's not time to eat or drink, I don't want to go messing up the host's beautiful little table to steal one of the drinks off their table. I had to pack my own stuff. I had to have a whole kitchen almost in my bag just in case we needed it. And that was at every party. And they were young. They were getting invited to parties every other weekend, seemed like. On top of parties, visiting family was different. He could no longer go to Oklahoma, where my family is from. Hey, Oklahoma. He couldn't go to Oklahoma and just chill with my mother and his grandfather and my sister and my brothers, because they didn't know diabetes. They didn't know how to mix insulin. They didn't know how to count carbs. It was too much to just try to throw on somebody because, in a spur of the moment. You really needed to come and spend time to be trained. So for a very long time, he couldn't go visit long-distance relatives. He couldn't even visit family and friends here in the city because the same issues persisted. At some point in time, depending on how long he was going to be in your presence, you were going to either have to count carbs or give insulin or wonder if he's okay. And I think that just stressed people out. So a lot of people, just didn't feel comfortable. We never blamed them. It was a lot for us, but it was still part of our new reality. One of the other things that he couldn't do was us going out to eat. We used to be able to just, get up and go out to eat. But now, if we go out to eat, we have to think about, okay, wait a minute. When did he last eat? Okay, what is his blood sugar? Because we don't want to start the meal out with him high, because you know he's just going to be higher, and then we're going to be up all night checking blood sugars. So, okay, well, if we do go out to eat, well, what if it takes too long to be seated? Then what are we going to do? It's going to be too late, and then again, he's going to be high, and I'm going to be up all night chasing highs, pushing units. It's not worth it. Literally, I had a day job, and I would be up all night checking insulin, checking blood sugars, and giving insulin, and going to work on zero sleep. So we would just say, forget it. Don't go out to eat. Well, wait a minute. What if we want to go to the movies? Let's go to a little matinee. Well, wait a minute. Did he have breakfast, and how long ago was it, and what is his blood sugar? And then, you know, when we get to the movies, he's going to want that popcorn, and he's not going to want the little bag. He's going to want the bigger bag. We have to count all that and keep up with that. It's just too much stress. So many things that we took for granted, that we didn't even know we took for granted, changed. It was not easy dealing with diabetes. We've had to learn over time how to fit this thing into our lives. And I think the other biggest thing that we had to do was just meal planning in general. Because he would eat breakfast at home, I had to plan breakfast. I had to plan his morning snack. He took lunch to school because there was no way I was going to be trying to figure out how to count carbs on the school's lunch menu. I wasn't ready. I was overwhelmed enough. So he took his lunch every day. He had an afternoon snack. He would get home and we would have dinner. After dinner, he usually on most days in the early days had a bedtime snack. So it was like 6 snacks or 6 meals for him a day. I had to not only make sure I had the 6 meals, but they had to be carb counted and they had to be different. He needed a variety. He didn't want to eat the same thing every day. So I'm literally standing in the kitchen trying to figure out, how do I make this work? Should I take a picture of all these different meals that I'm creating so I can just make it faster next time? What do I do? Most days I just cried. It was like, oh my God, Lord, you gotta help me. I mean, it was a bad situation, but I made it through. He worked with it. But on top of making his 6 meals, I had to make my husband and myself. We have 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 snacks. I'm just making meals for everybody all day long. Food just never stopped. Planning never stopped. Counting never stopped. Before diabetes, I didn't have to do any of that. I just thought, what do we want to eat? Throw it in there and I left. What do they want to eat? Put it on the table. They ate it. We don't have that luxury anymore. So for those of you who don't have diabetes in your life, please consider yourself blessed, lucky, whatever you want to ascribe to. But know that it is a gift, because it's not easy. For your friends who have diabetes, it's not easy. Even if it looks like they are not doing the right things, they seem to always be running low or always be running high or always in and out of the emergency room. It's not easy. Ask yourself what you're doing to contribute to their solution. What are you offering to try to help them make things a little bit easier? And if there is nothing you can actually do, what can you do just to support them? Just to let them know that you understand, or that you're trying to understand. I just want you to think about it, because this life is not easy. My son has type 1, which is different from type 2. Depending on people's circumstances, there are people who type 2 greatly resembles what we do as type 1. But there are a lot of type 2 people where other things can happen to change and reverse their situation. It doesn't have to be this way. But I'm only sharing all this information just to help you paint the picture of what a day in the life of my type 1 son looked like, what we've had to do. Over the years, I've been coaching him through the process. When he first was diagnosed, we gave him some time, but when he was ready, he started testing his blood sugar. And then after he got good at that, then he decided he wanted to start giving himself shots. Then, as he progressed in math and he started to learn addition and subtraction, we started reading labels. He started learning the difference between serving sizes and carb counts. As he started learning more addition, we started learning how to add up the carbs. Multiplication and division, we started doing the rest of the math to learn how many units he needs to, to cover his food. So today here, as we stand in the 5th grade and 11 years old, he is a beast. He knows what he is doing. And I wish you would try to come talk to him, because he will quickly let you know that you are a peon and he is an expert. And what do you want? And I just have to be true about it, because you ought to see him with his nurse. Everybody's always amazed by how much he knows, by how well he's doing. And I'm just thankful to God that he's resilient, he has a positive attitude, and he's willing to learn. But we have to negotiate, we have to strategize, we have to have a lot of conversations about food and diabetes. So I just want to encourage you all to know that this is not easy, but it's not over. It's not easy, but it's not over. It's worth fighting for. And if you have the right person in your corner helping you to close the gaps on the things that you don't know, or the things that can be done better or differently, I think you should consider it. And that would be me. So if you're interested and you know you need to have a discussion, I am offering complimentary sessions. And if you go to bit.ly/callwithcarmela, you can get on my schedule and we can just have a talk. There's no fee. It's free. We just have a talk about what's working and what's not, and see what your best next step is. And I want to also just tell you, thank you for jumping on. If you're watching this on the replay, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it. But I more importantly want to ask you to share it. You know that it takes a village to kick diabetes to the curb, and your friends need to know that I'm out here, and they won't know if you won't share. So I hope you will hit those like buttons, give me some hearts if any of this resonated with you. And if you want to keep in touch, please go to my website at www.adiabetictypelife.com, where you can sign up for my list and get my free ebook. It's going to give you the 6 steps that you need to push through diabetes overwhelm. And it will also give you a chance to stay in connection with me, so I can give you some tips and encouragement and a little motivation to keep pushing through and fighting. Do not give up what is rightfully yours. Keep your limbs. Your vision belongs to you. Don't let diabetes take it. And I'm here to help you. But I hope you enjoyed learning just a little bit more about what our life has been with diabetes. I'm going to be back tomorrow with you at 11. If you can't catch me live, please check the replay. But it's been wonderful talking to you, so be well and test often. Have a great day.